Good evening, or wherever you are in the world. How are you doing? I'm Dr. Melissa Mann, and I am here doing my musings with Melissa that I sort of meant to be doing Wednesday mornings. Last week I did on Thursday, so I realized in my very last session tonight that I didn't do it today. And I was like, well, I could wait until tomorrow, or I could just jump in here now. So if I look like I've been working all day, I have been. And by working, I mean, sitting down talking to clients about whatever's going on in their world. And so it hasn't exactly been stressful, but regardless, it's the end of a long day. I had one of my longer, I think I saw 9 clients back to back today, which is not usually my norm since I went out on my own. But it's actually it was interesting, somewhere in between, I think client 8 and 9, I was like, wow, I used to see, oh, hey, Megan. I used to do 9 to 12 patients a day when I worked in corporate medical world. And I would be so tired by client 5. And it was during the day most of the time. I don't think I ever worked this late at night. And it's what is so different now? But it's so different now. And so much of that is choice, that and if I have a long day, it's because I created that. I scheduled myself that way. It wasn't imposed on me from somebody else. And it's interesting, when we start to have total choice, how we can create our lives in a completely different way, in a way that works for us. So it works for me to work late one night a week because I'm able to accommodate people who couldn't come at other times. And I don't feel like I have to work these insane hours on other days. So anyways, it's not what I came in here. Hey, Parisa. And I really wanted to talk to you today about chaos. And so is the chaos of my life coming in here kind of late at night for me. And I actually just met with a new client for the first time. And he said something that just resonated with this topic of chaos, which I was going to talk about at some point anyways, because I have a series starting sometime in October 14th, 15th, something like that. I don't know if that's accurate. It's starting the second week in October, called Creating with Chaos. And I've been talking about this chaos thing a little bit more lately, and it comes up in various places, but he was saying how he does really well in high stress situations. This particular person works in construction where there's a lot of dangerous things and all the different, there's 100 different things going on at any given time. And he was saying that is total ease for him. Oh, I'm so excited that you're coming, Parisa. That's awesome. And so he was saying that what happens is that thank you for the dates, Megan, October 12th through the 15th, that he gets super anxious, what we would say in this reality, when he has silence. And that as long as he's busy and doing and focused on things, that he's creating and is doing really well. And so, but there's something in that, is that there's this awareness piece. And when we are actually where was I going with that? So there's a couple different pieces. So obviously when it's quiet, he becomes way more aware of things, which we also may do. And that we have which is probably a separate anxiety conversation, truly, but also the chaos is where he thrives. And how many of us as humanoids actually thrive in the chaos. And what if, whether it be that there's 1,000 things going on at a time, or your own awareness is actually the chaos, and there's 100 different things in your awareness, even in what appears to be silence, which is where a lot of people get stuck, where you could actually create from and with that too. And so as we start to look at different areas of our lives where we go into trying to make things linear and trying to get it right, whether it be work or whether it be ways to make money, or even other areas like relationship or like things at home, like with family, or like all of these different areas where like we try to do like this linear thing where it's I will first do step 1 and then I will do step 2 and then I will do step 3, and it doesn't actually work for you because that isn't who you be. As a humanoid, you are perpetually creating with the chaos. There's always 100 things going on, or millions of things going on in the universe, with the molecules, with the things that you're aware of, with the people that you're aware of, the energies that you're aware of. And if you wouldn't try to do it the way that this reality does it, whatever it is, then you have this space of actually playing in the molecules of the chaos where you can create and create and create and create. And it isn't like, none of it's wrong, but we get so mad at ourselves when we're like, but this reality says that I have to do it linearly. This reality says I have to complete one task before I start the next task. This reality says that you have to like do things in linear, logical order. And you may find that people don't understand when you're like, oh, I'm working on this project and this project, and I have this thing going on, I have this thing going on. And people are like, what are you doing? How is that ever going to work for you? That can't work. So everywhere that you're still trying to create your life from a linear point of view or perspective, would you be willing to destroy and uncreate it all? Well, everything that is right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, all night, shorts, boys, and beyonds. And that is the Access Clearing Statement. If you've never heard that before, you can go to theclearingstatement.com and get more information on that. And basically, we just pull up the energy of anything and use that to just kind of blast that all out of existence. So what would be possible if you were willing to actually start to do things in a way that work for you without a point of view of how you're supposed to do them? So maybe you can go back to like a time where you were a little kid and you look back and like you were like had like paint over here on the floor, and then you were like playing with Play-Doh over here, and then like your friend came over, so you dropped all that stuff and like you went and did something else. And maybe a parent was like, oh my gosh, you have to put one thing away before you get the next thing out. But that wasn't the way that you functioned. You function of like, let's do this, and then let's do this, and let's do this, and this sounds like fun, and oh, let's go here. And you were made wrong for it. And so somewhere you locked in that having too many things going on meant that you couldn't be successful. And therefore, every time that has come up since, you immediately go into the wrongness of you and proving that you must be wrong. And so then you're not actually creating what you could create if you weren't making yourself wrong. So that was long if you followed that. So everything that is right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, all night, shorts, boys, and beyonds. And what if you were actually willing to be the chaos and the joy and the creation that you truly be, rather than trying to do things like in that one at a time kind of a thing, or in a like a, what's the word I want? It's like an energy, like that, like meditative, silent space. And not that there's anything wrong with meditation. I think meditation's great, but I also know a lot of humanoids really struggle to do it because their minds are in 100 different places. And it's like, you try to like calm down, you know, all the thoughts, but like, that's actually like, if you were to use that energy rather than trying to shut everything off, what could you create? Because sometimes like that's actually when those like creative ideas come up, is in that space of chaos when there's a lot of things going on. I had a conversation with a friend the other day, and he was saying that he just started like anything that matched the energy of what he'd like his life to be. He was like, yes, that, yes, that, yes, that, even if it didn't make any logical sense, because he knew that it would create and everything would work out. But what most of us do is we go into overwhelm because we're like, oh, well, I have this to do and this to do and this to do and this to do. And then we go into this like, but I'll never get it done. And we try to make time really significant. But if time wasn't real, and it's not, and you could just play in the energies of everything that matches the energy of what you're asking for, whether it makes logical sense or not, if you were willing to completely let go of trying to like make it work and actually have total trust and faith that everything will work out because you're choosing it. And because it matches the energy of where you'd like to take your life and where you'd like to choose like what you'd like to choose as your life, that it'll just work, that everything will just kind of fall the way it needs to fall. And to trust the way things are showing up. And, you know, when we talk about like actualizing things versus like manifesting, I've had this conversation a lot lately, actually, where, you know, manifesting is like trying to figure out like how things show up, where actualizing, you're totally letting go of the how. And you're just asking that it shows up in some way, shape, or form, but you don't get to figure it out. You don't actually have to figure it out. So if you would ask the universe, like, hey, what would it take for this thing to show up? Or, hey, I'm asking for more of these energies. I've been doing these energy pulls, side note, these quick ease energy pulls, which you can still join if you'd like to. We started last Friday. So we've been in it almost a week, and we have a week to go still. So you can still join. You'll get all the replays. But we've really been like playing in that, like asking for like different things to show up, asking for ease with things. And so anywhere that you're asking for an energy to show up, you don't have to figure it out. You're just asking that like something matches that, and it doesn't ever look the way you think it's going to. You might think it needs to look a certain way, but it doesn't. And if you'd be in total allowance of like, oh, hey, this matches the energy of what I've been asking for, no matter what that looks like, if you're like, okay, that, and okay, well, does this match the energy of what I've been asking for? Okay, that, without going like, how am I going to fit it all in, or how am I going to make it work? It just does. It always works out the way that it needs to, if you're willing to have that. But if you're trying to prove that things are too chaotic, I'm too overwhelmed, things are never like, you know, I'm so stressed out, then that is actually what shows up. Because when you go into like, I'm so overwhelmed, I'm so stressed out, things are too chaotic, which is a judgment, then that's where we get stuck in that like overwhelm kind of place. But if we're like, oh, cool, I'll have that, and I'll have that, and I'll have that, and I'll have that, and are actually willing to have those things in your life, then you can create with the chaos rather than like resisting it. So it's kind of that difference of like resisting and reacting to something where like you kind of like get stuck in this space. Like, you know, there's like all of these things going on and you're like, I will resist this. I will not, this is overwhelming. I'm stressed out. And you want to like prove how stressed you are, then yeah, then that's what's going to show up. But if you're like, oh, I'm not going to resist any of this. Like, let's see how much fun we can have. I'm going to be in total allowance of the chaos and like start creating in those energies of like all the things showing up. What else could be possible? Would you be willing to receive money with total chaos? Have you looked at that? So if you look at like having different revenue streams and like money coming from here and money coming from here and money coming from here, and like, is that chaos? Yeah. And what if chaos could be so much fun and you could create so much from it? And what if you could use that in business and you had this thing going on and this thing going on and you were like working over here doing this thing for this person, and then you like had your own thing going on here, and then you worked for like some other thing here, or you just got money from this thing here that contributed to your business, or I mean there's 100 different ways, but that is receiving with chaos. And so all the different areas that like you've decided that chaos is this like bad thing, would you destroy and uncreate that? Cool. Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. So, how much fun? How much fun could you have if you were willing to completely lean in and have a good time? And like, it's that same energy of like, you can like be pissed off in the rain when you're like, oh my God, it's raining and my hair is wet and I look like crap now and I look like a drowned rat and all the things I've said when it's raining. Or you could be like, oh my God, how freaking beautiful is this? Let's dance in this crazy, beautiful chaos of, you know, lightning and thunder and rain and all of it. So you have a choice. And so what if when in the chaos, when things are, you know, when you have a choice to see things as overwhelming or as total freaking ease, joy, and glory and fun, that is when your greatest creations can actually show up. And so, like I mentioned, Megan thankfully posted the dates because I wasn't aware of them entirely. October 12th through the 15th. I have a Facebook Live series. I think it's 4 Facebook Lives, and then we're including an SOP with the chaos for anybody who signs up. And you can do the SOP separately too if you'd rather just do the SOP. But if you want to join us for Facebook Lives, I did a series called Starting from Scratch maybe a month ago. Time is very strange these days. I can't really keep track of it anymore. But and it was so much fun. It was like the beginning of starting a business, where the Creating with Chaos is sort of like the continuation of that, but you can start here too because chaos. And it's all the ways you can like use the chaos to actually create your life, create your business, create what you're really asking for, and play in those energies to create greater. So it's kind of like the step 2 from the other thing. But like I said, like you can start here if you didn't do Starting from Scratch, and just join us for like really looking at like how we can create our businesses and money flows and kind of like all of those things from this space of like total play and joy and like just following the energy without trying to do things linear and without trying to do things in the way that this reality tells you you have to do them when it comes to business or earning money or like anything that kind of falls there, which is also the creation of your life. So, you know, your life is your business and your business is your life. And so, I mean, even if you're like, well, I don't own a business, join us anyways, because it's not necessarily, it's about business, but it's also just about like the complete creation of your life from this space of like chaos and joy and fun and ease and like choosing basically like everything that you haven't been willing to choose up to this point because it seemed too out of control, or we start to let go of all of those points of view about what out of control means, what chaos means, what it means to have 100 things going on, and total relaxation with it rather than any kind of stress or overwhelm or anything like that. So I think Megan already posted the link in the chat, so that's there for you. And I'm gonna go home and eat something because I realized I haven't eaten like in a long time. So thank you guys for being on with me live. And if you're catching the replay in the future, yeah, I hope you enjoy all the things and all the energies of chaos. I've clearly lost my words this evening. All right, have a great night, you guys. Bye-bye.